If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. We are live as always in downtown Las Vegas. This show is brought to you by DraftKings. Busy 3-hour program lined up today. Good guests on the show. We'll get into the point spreads and the totals for the divisional round coming up in about 15 minutes. Also, it's a really good college basketball card, small NBA, but good games on that card tonight as well. We'll talk about all of it coming up here on Follow the Money, Pauly. I'm sure at some point, maybe later on today, this week, throughout the offseason, we are going to hear plenty about the collapse of the runners-up from last year, the Philadelphia Eagles, who fell on their faces down the stretch. It was not pretty. It got worse all the time. I can't remember the last time they covered a game. Was it back in November against the Chiefs? And it was ugly and vile, and that would have been rock bottom going out like that last night. I mean, they were defensively, when you were watching that unfold last night, some of the players in the secondary, like you're dropped to the second string in college. You're cut from high school for whiffing, for the miscommunication, for the mistackling. I mean, it was that bad. And they go out 32-9, and that was pure domination last night by Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In fact, this is how bad it was. Lane Johnson, their stud offensive lineman, told Howard Eskin from WIP in Philadelphia after the game, quote, "It was very embarrassing. I'm just sitting here and watching. I really don't know what's going to happen. He's expecting changes. It's frustrating. Nobody's safe. We'll see what happens." End of quote. Lane Johnson from the Eagles after the game last night.
Mm-hmm. I think if you talk to an objective Eagles fan, they thought there was no way they were winning the game. I think it was just how bad it was, and you mentioned the 0-7 ATS run to finish the season. That is all-time bad from a tackling standpoint. I mean, that is just, it's embarrassing what happened. It's like you never played football before. Not only can you not tackle in the yak, how about the angles you're taking in trying to make some of the tackles and what happened with the big plays? So now, and how you go out, not to mention, we get off the air yesterday, you go home, and there's a hit piece on the front page of ESPN.com about someone leaked that, about how bad it's been, losing the locker room, what's gone wrong, how do you go from a 10-1 start to you blow the division, and now you can't even win a playoff game. It's unthinkable.
Yeah.
And now it's to your point about what Lane Johnson said. Could we go from Sirianni with a 10-point lead in the third quarter in the Super Bowl to out of a job? Now, that would be something if they fire him, which I think you have to make it the favorite now. And he clearly misses Gannon and Steichen, his coordinators. Patricia coming in actually got worse. I mean, you have to say they have the worst. Can you believe that? Worst defense in the league since Desai was demoted. And to go, they make one play offensively. They hit the long pass to Smith. Oh. Other than that, they do nothing. And it's just, they were so embarrassed. X's and O's in the tackling. Hey, I mean, Peyton Manning was furious. It's like, you're going to go empty? You're just inviting the blitz every time.
I mean, it was.
And they're just going to dial up pressure, and Hurts is running for his life.
It was the ultimate dream scenario for a guy like Todd Bowles.
Yes.
Who they blitz at the third highest rate in the entire NFL. This is his MO, what he's done as a defensive coach his entire career. He loves to bring pressure. And for, I don't know, pretty much it felt like the entire game until it was out of control. They just kept doing the same thing over and over and over again. Manning called it stubborn on their side.
Yes.
They wouldn't change. They had no answer for it. Hurts, how does he take that safety?
Oh, God. Throw the ball, please.
Which led to a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's just like, man, you were in the Super Bowl last year. You cannot allow that to happen. But the body language, every time that they walked off the field, the look on Hurts' face, and then...
Good observation. Aikman pointed that out.
Dallas Goedert.
Yep.
Dallas Goedert was getting into it with Jalen Hurts. If that dude, that tight end's going to get into it and not be happy, you know that there's massive friction. And I'm a pansy. I hate myself. I only took the Buccaneers for a small bet last night plus the 3. I know it's coulda, woulda, shoulda looking back on it. Easy to say now. how did I not have like alt numbers with the Buccaneers? All week long we were saying
that was an in-play dream.
How were the Eagles favored in the game? How?
Yeah.
Well, and I was actually hoping that they would have because the Buccaneers could not put that team away until later on in the third quarter. I was hoping the Eagles had it in them to pull out one more like miraculous win because I think they would have gone to Detroit and gotten buried. I think Detroit would have put up 40 on them.
Okay.
This defense was not going to, but maybe anyway, that doesn't matter because that game's not going to happen anymore. But that's just the NFC East. Last year, 3 teams made the divisional round. 3 teams. This year, one of the most embarrassing and pathetic showings you're ever going to get from a division.
We ripped them yesterday. We have to give them credit today. Everyone on the pregame picked Tampa Bay. They got there, so good job by there. You see the picks there with everyone on the broadcast to start with the pregame. The other thing that's not going to help them, I don't have a problem with it, but not once but twice, Sirianni took points off the board. I mean, I don't have people ripping them for going for 2. Well, to them, it's a free point.
Right.
Because the tush push always works. I guess no one's going to point out it was a blatant face mask. That wasn't
they missed
called.
that?
I don't know. It was right
I saw
in front
it immediately.
of him.
I tweeted out as soon as the play happened.
Absolutely. And then you also had. I thought it was the right move. It's 4th and 5. You're down 16 to take the points off the board. You're going to make a 2-score game a 2-score game. You're down 13 with 10 minutes. What does that do? And then 4th and 5, they couldn't convert. So it's. I don't know if he survives this, and this would be what a fall from grace this could be and a collapse by Philadelphia. But again, as we've talked about, and Lombardi has said many times, you have Vrabel, Belichick, Harbaugh out there. Who knows? Maybe Tomlin leaves. That could be another one. I don't know what Tomlin's going to do, but this is to go from do you think you're going to win the Super Bowl to maybe out of a job and getting exposed, and then the hit piece on ESPN.com and the bad body language and the A.J. Brown stuff. And not only that should have been, it was a blowout. It should have been a lot worse because of the drops. Evans wide open, drop city.
Kate Otten.
Yes, drops all over for Tampa.
I think he would have scored twice last night.
Yeah.
I had him first touchdown score 23-1, right in his hands. And then that other one, that slant later on in the game, that would have been a touchdown too because he was going to run forever in that spot. What do you think the Eagles were when they were 10-1? Because you can bet stage of elimination. 10-1, leading that division. Cowboys were 8-3. What do you think they were to lose and bow out in the wild card round?
That had to be a huge number.
Had to be a massive number.
That's only happened three times in history, I believe, right? You're 10-1, then you lose 5 or 6 or 4 or 5. Whatever.
Yep, and they were running this down in the broadcast last night, and they kept going over to different linemen on the Eagles, one right after another. And Aikman joked. He goes, "I've been in broadcasting for 20 years. I think Brendan Graham was playing when I was still around." And he's like, "Not really, but he's been great." But it was just one guy after another, either contract year or they've talked about retirement, like Kelsey, great center. How many guys are going to leave the team?
Yep.
When Lane Johnson's already talking about how embarrassing it was last night, and they're going to have massive changes. How do you possibly get a read on the Eagles going into next year? Because at 10-1, they were fugazi. They had a bunch of these one-score games and spots they never should have won. That was a fake record.
Yes.
And then but how they closed the year and the guys that they might lose, what a win total next year for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, Howie Roseman's done a great job, but that's a fair point about what are you going to do when the big changes. Let's start here. Who's going to be the head coach? That's number one. I mean, I don't think they'll fire him, but a lot of people think it's going to happen. I can't wait to talk to Sal Pell. But it's just how it just got worse every single week. Your only win was on Christmas. You closed 0-7 ATS and 1-6 straight up. The only win was against Tommy DeVito, who played a half. And then on Christmas against the Giants, and then Tyrod Taylor comes in and lights you up. Yeah. But how bad the defense played down the stretch, how bad the offense looked. You may have lost the locker room. You took points off the board. You got shut out in the second half. Couldn't have gone worse for Sirianni.
How badly did they miss A.J. Brown last night?
Yeah.
I know Devontae Smith was really, really good, but that's pretty much the only guy who was making plays for the Eagles on offense.
And Hurts regressed, and people are pointing out, boy, you really missed Steichen, you really missed Gannon. And Eagles fans couldn't wait to get rid of Gannon after the choke job in the Super Bowl, and the defense was a travesty, train wreck, horror show.
As we said last week, I would put that team at the very bottom of the list right now for all defenses in the NFL. That's how bad they've been. Sorry, it's 2 months now. And they were favored in the game last night, and they were taking money in that game. People just expected them to flip the switch, I guess.
Well,
I mean,
Tampa struggled down the stretch, too. And Baker was hurt, but certainly looked fine.
Here's the thing. This is why I was a little skeptical about not betting more on Tampa Bay. We heard maybe 60%. He looked like it was 100% healthy last night.
Yep.
So injury reports in the NFL are tricky. That one's, I'm just watching the game like, this guy's hurt? How? Didn't look hurt whatsoever.
2 weeks ago, they couldn't get a first down at home against the Saints. And then beat Carolina 9-0 with the division on the line. So
both defenses are better than that one last night.
Yeah. What a story. 225-1 here at Circa in August to win the Super Bowl for the Buccaneers. 2 wins
Win
away
total
from
6.5.
That's right. Yep. What a job by Todd Bowles and you got to feel good for Baker Mayfield. A nomad, a vagabond, lost his confidence, jumping around. Rams, Carolina, Browns couldn't wait to get rid of him. Here he is playing great football, 300 yards, plenty of touchdowns. The year Evans had. Oh, it's a funny game. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of great stories with the remaining teams that are still trying to make the Super Bowl.
It depends on how you grade the Bills game, because the Eagles were 3.5 early in the week when they played back in November. It did get bought down. I think some spots went off 2.5, and they won the game in overtime. But I know, like in a contest out here, they were 3.5 because I had the Bills in that game, so that was one of my winners that week. If you include that one as a loss, they have not covered since the Chiefs game, which was November 20th.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching the Giants game last week, final week of the regular season, and that team was getting murdered when the Cowboys were still in a dogfight against the Commanders with their starters in.
Right.
That team was favored against the Buccaneers last night.
Yep.
Okay. And in the other one, we'll get to a little bit more coming up here. That that game I wish was played on Sunday now, just because of bets that were not voided. That would have been, and now because of the win, look at this game that we get on Sunday. Bills are at home against the Chiefs.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally. The last 5 meetings have been in Kansas City. Bills finally get them at home.
They've done well against them. That number coming up next, all the numbers for the divisional round, in fact, are. And do you really want to lay this number after watching the last 6 quarters? Coming up here on VSiN.
You're looking for a betting edge through the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl? We have you covered. And VSiN.com has a brand new look today. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today. Get a daily access to the leaderboard to see who has the hot hand, the betting splits, the dog videos, the premium analysis. Your first 30 days are $9.99. Check it out, VSiN.com/subscribe to sign up now.
And a heads up on this, in Bill 80's VSiN Daily today, he's received questions about VSiN, the mobile app. It's, as Paul just said, going to have a changeover today, makeover. And he said if you use the mobile app to watch the live broadcast and replays to listen to VSiN, you can still do that. But here's the pro tip for VSiN Pro subscribers. You will need to log in again. If you forgot your password, click on the login button and select reset your password, as we do not store them here at VSiN. So that's one of the nuggets for today, a little bit later on, when the website is going to get revamped. All right, so here you go with the numbers that we have in the divisional round. We'll start with the games coming up on Saturday. Texans are at the Ravens. This game opened up yesterday between 8.5 and 9. It's right around that number right now. A 9 is out there, 9.5 out there as well. Total is 45.5.
Yeah, I'd like to take 10 here. I completely throw out the meeting in week 1, which was Stroud's first start. How he continues to do this as a rookie without Dell, without Noah Brown, and what he's done. Incredible season for the Texans, just like they're the Tampa of the AFC. 250-1 to win the Super Bowl. 1 win away from going to the AFC title game. Thing that concerns me is the playoff issues with Lamar and what happened in 2019. Although they had practice at the stadium Saturday and they're trying everything they can to make sure they don't come out flat. And as Lamar said, he felt rusty when they lost to Tennessee when he won the MVP and they were 14-2.
So I don't know if this number is going to get to 10 at all during the week. My thought is if it somehow goes down below 9 and gets to 8.5, that to me would be a teaser look on the Ravens to get it below a field goal and to get it below 7, obviously. And then depending on where this Chiefs-Bills game goes, I think it's going to be pretty close to this number all week long. But then I would get on board with the Chiefs teasing that up to be on 7.
And the last thing the Ravens need, another star player. Now you're going to get Andrews back.
Well, evidently we're going to have some weather too.
Yeah, okay.
So it's going to be cold. some wind, maybe
Texans,
some rain.
Every year the Texans are the early game. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. By the way, now that we're here on a Tuesday, what did you make overall? We had to have the doubleheader, the Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Too much? Is it unfair to the teams playing on Monday?
Are they going to keep it? I mean, it's just, you saw what they did with Peacock. These guys would just always have their hand out. You know, I thought the whole thing was ridiculous yesterday. It's $1 billion operation and the fans have to shovel their own seats?
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
That happens in every NFL
ridiculous.
city. I know it is. I think the best case scenario for the teams now is what I'm talking about, would have a triple header on Saturday and Sunday. Because we're going to have some unfair spots, and who knows? I mean, there was, for like a minute there before yesterday, but the thought was that game might have to be played on Tuesday. So then what do you do?
Yeah. Well, Kansas City has a huge break here. They played Saturday, and the Bills played Monday.
Yeah.
So Bills are still at home, but that's. I wouldn't be surprised if they go 2-2-2, and just say, "Hey, it's a holiday, anyways. Let's go with the afternoon." Most people are out from work, anyways.
And now they're going to try to they've already taken over Christmas from the NBA. They want to do the same thing on MLK Day. Yep. I guess. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, the other game on Saturday night, the Niners are at home laying 10 to the Packers. Total is getting juiced up here. It's now 50.5. Again, I saw two different spots open right away over the weekend, and it was either 48.5 and 49.5 in this game. This is going to come down to, well, both quarterbacks, clearly, and whether or not the offensive line for Green Bay can hold up against that pass rush for Green Bay and how much time Jordan Love is going to have to throw the football. Can they run it like they did against the Cowboys? No, you can actually run the football on San Francisco. That's the weak spot probably of the team. And then does Purdy come out with a flamethrower? And does he go like at 25 or 30 for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns? Or does he have a little bit of jitters in him in this game? And do we get a glimpse or two of bad Purdy? Doesn't happen very often, but we just saw it on Christmas night when that dude, I think, had all the pressure in the world on him.
That was a while ago. He had a bad game. It happens. I like what Lombardi said yesterday. I'll take Shanahan against Barry.
That's a huge mismatch.
It should be, right? And maybe Shanahan comes out and goes conservative early. I don't know. But if the kid has confidence early on and he's slinging it, then they should be able to go up and down the field. And I think it is a coaching mismatch there when you look at it from that standpoint. But you also worry about the Packers maybe having a letdown after everyone's pumping their tires after they destroy Dallas. But Love's been great, and this is, there's so many good storylines here in this round. But we'll see if Love can keep it up, and Love and Stroud have been unbelievable this year, and especially the last couple months.
How big is this part? Again, the Packers have scored the first touchdown in their games, 9 straight games, right? So how big is that? We saw that again on Sunday against the Cowboys. Like, they won the coin toss. They're like, yeah, we want the ball. Went down, scored a touchdown. If they could do that again against San Francisco and maybe get out to a lead in this game, that can kind of maybe set the tone maybe a little bit as well here against the Niners. And then, I mean, the Niners can come back down to the 4-play drive and score at 7-7, obviously.
Yeah.
But they have been phenomenal at that.
Yeah. You're going to have to play a perfect game, though, in all 3 phases.
You pretty much have to.
The special teams are awful.
Both special teams are bad.
Well, Moody's got issues kicking. I mean, but Carlson, between his extra points and field goals and then their horrible punt coverage, that could come back to bite him. But Love has just been on such a great run here. This would be I'd like to take both quarterbacks not to throw an interception in that one.
You could parlay that probably, if you would like. Then we get to the games on Sunday. And the early game, which is at 3 o'clock Eastern, noon out here on the West Coast. This is what I was talking about before the break. Now, the Lions are favored by 6 in the game against the Buccaneers. Total is 48.5. It's a very small sample here. I'm not going to completely overreact. But based on the last 6 quarters, the second half of the Lions game against the Rams, where they got, I don't know how the Lions won the game, but they did. And then what the Buccaneers did to the Eagles last night.
Well,
is 6 too many?
Yeah, I think 6. I took 6. It's also a mini hedge. I got the Lions for 100,000. So,
what is that for?
That's also in the blackjack tournament. Took the Lions with Mike Sanderson. So it's 2 things here, like I talked about yesterday. Where there's so much pressure on them and the nerves to exercise the demons and win a playoff game since 1991, and now you can exhale and you can come out and play loose, or is it? Hey, we won a game and now we come out and we're on cloud nine and, we got to do it again, and we fall on our faces. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm concerned about this defense. Now, like I said earlier, I don't care what happened in week 1 between Houston and Baltimore. I also don't care what happened in week 6 when Detroit beat Tampa 20-6. Tampa couldn't get a first down in that game. But I'm very concerned with the Detroit defense, which I know Stafford and the Rams have been hot. But this run down the stretch for Detroit's defense, you have Hutchinson, and he can put so much heat on a quarterback. But based on what we watched last night, I don't know if they're going to be able to get stops. And it's also a great story here that you have both quarterbacks who were just kicking dirt on both of them. Rams couldn't wait to get out from that horrible contract and get rid of Goff, and he rejuvenated his career and found something here with Detroit, and Baker's done the same thing in Tampa. But I think 6 is way too many here.
I think it's a big number.
Yeah.
I think Todd Bowles is going to do the same thing against, or try to anyway, against Jared Goff that we saw last night, where he's going to bring why would he change? Again, that's who he is. It's what he's done pretty much his entire career. I think he's going to try to put as much pressure as possible. And with this Lions defense, again, they have not been good for the second consecutive year. Good story here. Mm-hmm. Winning games this year, winning the division, making the playoffs. It's not a good unit at all. And we saw that with the Rams game the other night. Rams are going up and down the field on that team. They had to settle for field goals. It's the only reason why they lost. They're going to slow down Baker Mayfield here and his weapons? Do they have an answer?
Well, they did the first time. I don't know, maybe they found something in the game plan and what Aaron Glenn exploited, maybe looking at something on film. The other thing, Tampa Bay is too stubborn. Run the ball. There are so many pass-happy situations, especially yesterday. Run the ball. You were gashing them. That first drive, it's 2nd and 3. Run the ball, pick up the first down. You throw 2nd and 3.
They had a lot of specs last night.
I mean, they were gashing them on the ground.
3rd and 1, Mayfield's taking a dump sack.
That was another one.
Things like that.
Another good call. Right.
Yep.
So that's the other thing that maybe would concern me. I'm not in love with the OC with Tampa Bay, but it's it'll be easy to talk about on Sunday. Everyone knows the score after the game's played, but we'll see how the Detroit responds after finally winning a playoff game.
And then the final game, if this is a good game, the ratings I can't even imagine. And at some spots, the Bills did flash a 3-point favorite. They're down to 2.5 at most spots with various juice. Total is in the 46 to 46.5 range.
Well, you got concerns about Bass now. How do you miss a field goal? It's not even close.
Well, I have more concerns about the defense and the injuries.
Yep. That's going to be hard to overcome, too.
Bernard had 143 tackles on the year. He was carted off the field yesterday.
Yeah.
They had several guys go down in that game.
It was nonstop. Yep. But this has to be a Josh Allen game. Use him, use his legs, and let him run. Designed plays. He's such a great weapon. And also use this
don't remind me.
Okey doke with the rope-a-dope where I'm going to pretend to slide, and then the defense stops.
What a joke.
I mean, that was just a 52-yard touchdown run.
Up next, win some, lose some. This happened for only the 20th time in NBA history, if you can believe it, and it came from an unlikely duo.
Last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
All right, now we can recap everything. Highest scoring team of the weekend, Packers, 15-1. Thought it should have been higher than that. Lowest scoring team, Dolphins, 8-1. Most passing yards, Dak plus 450. Most rushing yards, Aaron Jones, 7-1. Most receiving, Puka, 12-1. Home teams went 5-1 straight up. Of course, the only team that loses, Dallas, and they'd won 16 in a row at home. The Steve Mackin numbers, wild card round only. The point spread doesn't matter. It had been 85% going back just in this round. Well, the point spread only mattered in one game. The Lions won but didn't cover. Bills to win between 11 and 15 points, 5-1. The alt over, 45.5, plus 290. Dawson Knox, first touchdown, 25-1. Johnson, anytime touchdown, plus 425. Calvin Austin, anytime touchdown, 12-1. David Moore, first touchdown, 48-1 here at Circa. Oh, another one again. Feel free to tackle somebody, Philadelphia. But then your bad beat you had with Otten. Trey Palmer, anytime touchdown, plus 450. Safety in that game, 15-1. Mayfield, 2 touchdowns and the Bucs win, plus 310. Eagles to score in both halves, no, 12-1. Shut out in the second half. Every team scores a touchdown in the round of the wild card round. That cashed plus 150. Subscribe, be part of the team. vsin.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos. I guess he found God last year. He tweeted about it on Christmas. How about you get in a car accident, you're in serious trouble, and Hulk Hogan saves your life? There's the picture. He has an NWO shirt on, and he helped out. He had to puncture the airbags to save the gal, and I think he had a pen. He came across a pen to save the day, and Hulk Hogan got her out of the wreckage. Great job, Hulk.
So he's in like full costume here.
Yeah, how about that? Right.
He's got the NWO shirt on and
yes.
like the bandana.
Was he going to a gig or something, or does he just walk around like that?
I'm guessing that's who he is and what he does every day of his life.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if, what was his real name, Randy Poffo? Or if Macho Man Savage walked around like that. like he's doing a Slim Jim commercial.
Do you think Hogan says brother as often as he does?
Yes, I do.
Like in real life?
Yes, I do.
I think he does too.
Hey, brother. Yeah, absolutely. There's the one win some. Plenty of lose some. Eagles end the season 0-7 ATS. Pittsburgh 1-11 straight up without Watt now. And the Bills put up 30 on them. Bulls Heat. Who was it?
It was Bulls and Cavs.
Bulls Cavs over 219 up to 223, no good. Nets Heat over 217 up to 221, loser. Minnesota, been the number one team in college basketball, +1, went off a 3.5-point favorite and lost to Iowa. This could be win some, but I'll put it under lose some. Joel Embiid the other day. Goal is the health, not the MVP. He misses 7 more games. He's ineligible anyways.
Yeah, that's right.
So keep an eye on that. Here's what I talked about earlier. Let's go to the videos. Look at the scene at Buffalo as the fans are trying to get to their seats. And you got to, clear the snow out to get to your seat. Little help here, right? It's $1 billion industry. We can't hire someone. The fans have to come in and we got to pay them $20 an hour to clear the... Get out of here.
I actually read it was open seating because of this mess.
Yeah, that would help out.
So fans, whoever showed up, could pick wherever they wanted to sit.
My God, we can't... Little help here. Can we hire somebody, NFL, to clear the stadium? 508, 509, very good.
That stadium does not have any, heating below the field or anywhere else.
Yes,
so
correct.
So outdated. So that's what they want in the new one.
Right. Emmys yesterday. All the chalk got there, but Rob McElhaney, who's an Eagle fan, while he was at the Emmys, was trying to watch the game. Who schedules the Emmys? Who schedules a football game while the Emmys are going on? Or who schedules a football game, whatever. And there's the picture there where he's looking. And they won a couple awards yesterday, also from Wrexham with his buddy Ryan Reynolds. But there's a couple shots where he's trying to get probably by the second quarter, you shut it off and said, I'm sick of this. I don't want to watch anymore. What's it called? Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, very good. And this is bad. This really puts it in perspective. Since Tom Brady won 5 playoff games just with Tampa Bay, the Cowboys have 4 since 1997. If that doesn't put it in perspective and how bad this organization has been, that's embarrassing. That is nuts.
I heard a lot of Dak's not the guy. They got to move on. Take the salary cap hit. And I agree.
Okay.
He can't be the guy.
Bad for the Bucs. Knicks Magic under 227 down to 217. Easy winner. The gal who plays Shiv from Succession, Best Actress, 750 up to 1200. She won, and Succession cleaned up. And one bad beat to the over Mike Evans receiving yards. Oh, the drops.
I'll give you another bad beat.
Go ahead, yeah.
And I'm sorry that it didn't get there because I know plenty of people who bet this. The Josh Allen over 8.5 rushing attempts.
Yep.
That's a rough one to get over.
Where are the design runs that should be part of the whole game
They were
plan?
non-existent last night.
Ridiculous.
I couldn't believe what I was watching. Down the stretch, it was happening more and more every single game.
They also are horrendous with the tush push. They
Terrible.
know not what they're doing. They don't have no clue what they're doing with that.
And then I needed to get the ball back one more time to take a kneel down, and Mason Rudolph was running on 3rd and 10
Oh, God.
to end the game like that.
Yeah, I took 10 in the game. Throw the ball in the end zone. He's scrambling. He's throwing 5-yard passes. The back door was wide open. Start your morning with a daily dose of winning strategies, insider tips, and the latest buzz with the free VSiN Daily newsletter. Expert analysis, latest odds, straight to your inbox, absolutely free. vsin.com/newsletter to subscribe. Great
Okay.
job, guys.
Here's what I mentioned before the break. How about this tweet from Mark Stein, who covers the NBA?
Uh-huh.
Tim Hardaway Jr. had 41 yesterday. Kyrie Irving scored 42. It's only the 20th time in NBA history one team has had two scores in the 40s. Dallas won against New Orleans, 125-120. It's only the 20th time? Are you serious?
Wow.
I remember when I was young, growing up, watching the Bucs play, they had Ray Allen and Big Dog Glenn Robinson, and they went for 40 apiece. And I thought that was so cool, and they made a big deal out of it, but I don't remember it being only like the 8th time in history. Pippen and Jordan did it before, too. Guys that I can remember, but only the 20th time in the history of the NBA.
Yeah. So they don't have Luka, and they beat New Orleans, who was red hot.
Yeah.
They beat the Knicks, and Luka didn't play. They had their starters and were run out against a depleted Memphis team. They also just lost to New Orleans when New Orleans sat a bunch of guys, and they were at full strength. So this is good luck figuring out the math.
can't.
When they have everybody, they play like crap. And when they're depleted, they get a huge effort.
Also, good luck figuring out the Lakers. Now, that point spread was wonky. I know SGA was like questionable throughout the day yesterday, so Lakers were favored. Then OKC got bumped up to like -3. So in certain big spots against good teams, they play well. The Lakers?
That's a tough matchup for OKC. I'll say that. Anthony Davis had some success early on, but I'm interested to see what happens tonight. OKC's on a back-to-back now, and they have to play the Clippers. But
they've typically, because they're so young, they don't sit guys. They've been good in these spots, but now you get the Clippers. So
I know they made a bunch of trades, but I believe Ham tinkered with the lineup last night. I fell asleep right after the game. This is a perilous trade, but this is when they got hot last year. But certainly they made a lot of moves, and Pelinka did a great job with them. But we'll see now if they take off, and now they realize a little bit of urgency here.
give you another one.
Golden State lost again. Draymond Green came back against said Memphis.
They got buried against Memphis.
Oh, boy. This is...
I looked at the odds board at one book here in town yesterday. They were still like the third team in the Western Conference, like plus 350. It's like this team's going to miss the playoffs. Plus 350.
They have to be a good size favorite to miss at this point.
There's like 8 teams I would favor over them in a series.
Yeah.
So what are we doing at this point? Other spots from yesterday in the association. I'm blanking on the game that I was going to bring up here. Because it was a full card, obviously, on MLK Day. You had the Knicks going down at home to the Magic.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, just when you thought you were buying in. Now they stumble a couple times. Did you see the Atlanta game?
Here's what I was going to bring up. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Atlanta was up 35.
Yeah.
They were laying 8.5. They had to make free throws at the end of the game to cover.
Lucky to cover.
Oh.
Here's what I was going to bring up, Pauly. I think people are absolutely sleeping on the Utah Jazz. Now, I brought this up, I think it was last week, when they were 12-1 to make the play-in tournament. They're like down to even money now. So in the span of 7 to 10 days, they went from 12-1 to like, it's going to happen. They have been the best team in the NBA, ATS, pretty much the entire year, covering numbers. I don't want to hear it. No Halliburton. They've been good without him.
Yeah.
They won by 27 last night at home.
Well, what do they do, though, at the deadline? Do they trade people?
That's the
thing.
biggest question mark.
That's exactly what they did last year.
Yeah.
They were in the same position, and they punted on the season. So it's a tough place to play. And they have a great home court advantage. And this Markkanen story is awesome.
Oh, they were laying 7. That was never a game.
No. Route City.
A burial.
Uh-huh.
And they've done that to plenty of teams now. And we are, middle of January right now. So 3 months into the season.
There's a lot going on. It's been a fun season. Minnesota could get the 1 seed. OKC's a dangerous team.
Matt Human's on the show coming up next. He has a divisional round bet that he likes and a couple of college basketball games with best bets tonight as well. Find out who they are next here on VSiN.
A lot of great storylines for the next round coming up this weekend. And DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. Some props are already up. And new customers, you bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code VEGAS. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Code VEGAS. The crown is yours.
Matt Humans joins the program now. We talk to him every Tuesday at this time. He hosts a show here on the network called VSiN Tonight. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. out here on the West Coast. Matt, good to talk to you as always. Let's begin with one of the divisional round matchups that you like. Texans, Ravens, 9.5s are out there in this game, so it hasn't touched 10 yet. What do you want to do with it?
I don't like the NFL games the way they set up this week as much as I did last week. And when I look back at the 6 games we just watched, nothing really surprised me except for the Cowboys getting crushed at home. And I don't think anybody should be surprised that the Texans beat the Browns. And when you look at the way the Texans offense played against that Cleveland D, 44 plays, 356 yards, 8.1 yards per play, pretty impressive performance by the Houston offense. And C.J. Stroud's playing with a lot of confidence right now. That whole team's playing with confidence, offense and defense. And I think one aspect that handicappers focus on a lot is what a big advantage it is to have to bye for the number 1 seed, to be rested. And again, sometimes I think that can be a real negative. And you're talking about a lot of the starters for the Ravens and the Niners this week who have been off almost 3 weeks. And, the rust factor is going to be something to think about when you handicap these games. The Texans are hot. They're on a roll. And I don't think this number has touched 10 for a reason. I think this is the type of game that the Ravens are going to have to grind out and probably win by 3, 4, 7, something like that. I'll take anything more than 7 with Texans team I think is going to be live here. I don't think the Texans pull off the upset, but I think they got a shot to take this game to the wire.
Okay. Do you think the Bills get to 3 this week? And if they do, are you going to be interested in taking the Chiefs?
I am, yeah. I'm going to take the Chiefs if I can get 3, and I think 3 is going to pop up again here at some point. Patrick Mahomes is an underdog. It's tough to turn that down. I was really impressed, and I was on the Chiefs. I was impressed by the way they played against the Dolphins. You're starting to see the offense come around a little bit with Rice emerging as a receiver, and you know what? The defensive front puts so much pressure on quarterbacks. I don't think Josh Allen's going to run around and have a field day against the KCD like he did against the Steelers yesterday. And, when we were doing our show last night at Circa, the number was actually at 3. I couldn't get out of the studio in time to bet it. It dropped to 2.5, but I think we're going to see 3s again at some point this week. And I'll take Mahomes plus 3 in this game. And I've got to get 3, though. I'm not taking anything less than that to bet Kansas City.
8-1-1 in his career when he's a dog, ATS.
Yep.
Although this is his first career road playoff game finally, so we have that as well. That's a great matchup. Any thoughts on the game in the NFC? Where are you at with Tampa Bay and Detroit? And if you try to think like the team, and if Detroit is the pressure off, or will Detroit have a letdown? Either way, I think 6 is too much.
Yeah, 6 seems like a lot. I was thinking more around 4.5, but boy, I don't know. Here's the thing. I think Baker Mayfield and the Bucs got the perfect opponent last night. Not too many teams in the league playing worse than the Eagles right now. If you haven't been paying attention to how poorly the Eagles have been playing the last 10 weeks, you can't be surprised with what happened last night in Tampa Bay. So I actually think some of the pressure is going to be off the Lions. They get the first playoff win. You kind of break a sweat in the playoffs and see what it feels like. I think they'll be a little bit looser. That's one reason I played the Rams last week is I thought the Lions were going to be a little bit tight in that situation. There was going to be so much hype around that game in Detroit.
Right.
And when they had the lead in the second half, I thought the play calling got really conservative.
Yeah.
And that the Lions almost blew the game by being too tight and too conservative. I don't think that's going to be the case here. I really don't have a feel for that game yet.
What is this I'm hearing? You want to take a shot at a dark horse for the number 1 pick in the draft?
Yeah, I know you like futures.
Oh, yeah.
Take a look at Jaden Daniels. Take a look at Jaden Daniels on the DraftKings odds board for the number 1 pick in the draft. Right now, Caleb Williams is minus 900, and Jaden Daniels is the third choice at 10-1. You're going to see between now and the draft, 4 months or so, you're going to hear a lot of hype about Jaden Daniels. He's going to rocket up this draft board to where I think it's probably more likely he's going to be the number 2 pick. I think he jumps Drake May, the quarterback from North Carolina. You're talking about a guy who completed 72.2% of his passes this year, 40 touchdowns, 4 picks. He had 10 rushing touchdowns. He had 50 total TDs, close to 5,000 total yards. He's 6'4", 210. He doesn't come with some of the emotional baggage that Caleb Williams brings. He's been really well coached by Brian Kelly the last 2 years at LSU. Jaden Daniels is going to get consideration for the number 1 pick. I think he probably goes number 2, but at 10-1 might be worth a shot there.
See, that's what I did. I took pizza money on May, I think back in October at 5-1 to be the first overall pick. But
who knows who's making the pick?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just okay.
Yeah.
Not bad, right. Matt. Not bad. How about some college hoops? This is wild. Now we've lived here for a long time, so we know this conference in the Mountain West. We know New Mexico, the Pit, is one of the toughest places to play. They are laying 6 though at home to Utah State. Utah State is ranked 16th, and they're 16-1 on the year. What do you think of the game tonight?
Well, I think that number tells you something, too. And if you look at the Lobos and the way they played at home as compared to the road this season, big difference. And New Mexico's got 3 big-time guards, including Jamal Mashburn Jr. and Jalen House. And when those guys are clicking, they're tough to contain. I'll give you an example. New Mexico beat New Mexico State by 44 points at the Pit. When they played again a couple weeks later in Las Cruces, New Mexico won by 1. So at the Pit, it's a totally different animal when you're talking about the Lobos. And they just blew out San Diego State 88-70 over the weekend at the Pit. And that was with JT Top and one of their forwards shooting 1 for 10 from the free throw line and one of their starting guards shooting 1 for 8 from the field. This New Mexico team's got a high upside. And I think Utah State's coming off one of the luckiest wins we've seen in quite a while. A 5-point play with 8 seconds left and a big comeback from double digits down in the second half to beat UNLV 87-86 on Saturday. So that was a fluke win. I thought Utah State should have taken the loss to the Rebels. They're going to go to Albuquerque tonight, and their 15-game winning streak is going to go down. I don't like laying the 5.5 here. I'll probably play some money, a little bit more money line than I will laying the points, but I fully expect the Lobos to win this game tonight.
All right, Matt, we have plenty of examples tonight of ranked teams on the road laying points against unranked teams. Exhibit A would be Purdue laying double digits at Indiana. Mike Woodson's 3-1 in his career here against the Boilermakers. Do you want to go to war here with the Hoosiers?
You know, a week ago when I talked to you guys, we had Purdue and Houston on the road as favorites, and I bet against both those teams, and they both got upset. I'm not going to say Indiana's going to win this game, but I think this line is out of whack. And I know the power ratings and the Ken Palm numbers are going to show Purdue should be a 10-point favorite, but I made this number 5.5. And, you said it, and that's one of my points here. Purdue had won, I think, 10 of 11 against Indiana until Mike Woodson came along, and he's won 3 of 4 against Painter. And I'll give you a December 16th game for an example. Kansas went to Bloomington to play Indiana. I took 7 with the Hoosiers. They led by 8 at half. They should have won the game. They blew it down the stretch, and they lost 75-71 to Kansas. I think you're going to see a very similar game play out tonight between Purdue and Indiana. Hey, Boilermakers are ranked number 2. They're going into a hornet's nest. The Hoosiers are going to play one of their better games. They're going to be amped up by the crowd, and I expect this game to be tight to the wire too. So I couldn't believe this number hit 10.5 or 11 last night. Maybe I'll prove to be wrong, but I'm telling you, I think this number should be closer to 5.5. So take the 10 with the Hoosiers as home dogs.
Matt, about a minute left. Have you added any futures in college basketball recently?
I did. You and I talked about this over the weekend. I have been really impressed by North Carolina lately. Well, all these top teams in college basketball have been fading. I think UConn right now has to rank as your top team. If you want to take 12-1, I'm not going to blame you. But 30-1 out there on North Carolina is definitely worth a shot. The Tar Heels got a legit big man with Baycoat, and R.J. Davis is a big-time scorer. So I would say North Carolina, if you can find it in that price range, is worth it.
Yep. You can watch Matt and Wes Reynolds every single night here on VSiN. Their show is called VSiN Tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. out here on the West Coast. Matt, as always, thanks for the time today. Best of luck.
Okay, you bet. Thanks.
Yeah, that is a big number. You're right, Paul. New Mexico laying that big of a number tonight.
Oh, wow.
We'll get into more of the college basketball card coming up in about 20 minutes and run down exactly how many of these ranked teams are on the road against unranked teams. Last week, it was a disaster for them. What was it, 9 out of 10?
Yeah.
In the top 10 losses came against unranked teams?
Yep.
Okay. Up next, we'll get back to the divisional numbers that we have on the board in the NFL, and we do have some breaking news today. A key cog has made a decision about his future. Find out what he is thinking coming up next here on VSiN.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.